Welcome to the Empowered Women Life Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Karen Bashford. This podcast is for every woman who has ever felt limited by her past, silenced by trauma, or held back by society's expectations. Each week, we will share powerful stories, expert insights, and practical tools to help you become the leader of your own life.
Welcome. Marian, I am pleased to say, is somebody I have had the privilege of actually working with, because she created the most phenomenal pack of healing cards that I absolutely adore. She is a global award winner, international speaker, author, artist, energy healer, course creator, healing card deck creator, and has over 30 years as a holistic practitioner. And I'm going to stop there because there's so much to you that I want to know, how did you get started? What put you into the space of being an energy healer and energy card creator?
Well, it's a fantastic question because, I was looking for my own healing, Karen. I was in such turmoil for many, many years. And the reason being, at the age of 8, I watched my 3-year-old brother being fatally killed by a double-decker bus.
Oh, that is a shock.
It is. And 3 months prior to that, as I played with my best friend, Derek, he also was killed by a double-decker bus. So, unfortunately, I was in charge of minding my brother that day, and I didn't mind him. So I took on the guilt, the blame, the shame was mine. I owned it, and I lived that way until I was knocked down for the second time, not the first time, but the second time when I was age 35. I was knocked down for the second time, and in all the years of trying to suppress the guilt, the blame, the shame, I could no longer hold that in. It was like a volcano that just came to the surface. And if you look at the word surface, the last 3 letters spell FACE. So I had to face that. I could no longer swallow it, hide it. And that was the beginning of my healing journey. So I started painting at that point in time. And the painting really saved me because, when you're painting, you get lost within what you're doing. So it was my escapism. And that's over 40 years ago now, And then many years later, I trained my first training was in fitness, in the fitness industry. Now, at this stage, I had turned 40. So I'm a late starter, right? So fitness, then it was reflexology, kinesiology, NLP, emotion code practitioner. That I could go on, but I'm trained and qualified in many modalities, but always looking for the solution. But I found the solution in my painting because I started painting from the subconscious. And as you're painting from the subconscious, you're painting what you're feeling. So now the feelings are no longer in here, they're out on the canvas or the paper or whatever it is that you're painting on. It could even be doodling, it doesn't have to be painting. But anyway, if you think about when your body goes into pain, it's tension, your muscles tighten and tension causes pain. So what do you get, Karen, when you put a T at the end of pain?
Paint.
That's it.
Amazing, isn't it? How everything joins together without us even realizing.
Yeah. So the paint, every time I painted, I was releasing, and all the pent up emotions, physically, mentally, emotionally. And so then I brought painting into my practice many years ago. And when I built my clinic, I built it so that people could come and they could paint. So I facilitated, I called it heart art because you're painting what you're feeling, you're painting from here. And I called it heart art magic. And the magic is my acronym for my ability to go into my center, because that's where the magic happens. We actually have the answers within us, but sometimes we're so stressed and traumatized, we're looking outside for someone to fix us. But we actually, the body has an innate intelligence to heal itself. It knows what to do when we can step out of the way and allow the body to do that. And that's what painting does for me. So when my clinic closed then during COVID, my poor 95-year-old mom got COVID and pneumonia at the same time, and she was already on oxygen 24/7. So the doctor just said, this is a very serious situation. And if that wasn't serious enough, my daughter informed me of her cancer diagnosis. So
Double whammy, basically, then.
Yeah, and I had mum on one hand, Jenny on the other hand, and Jenny wanted me to be her mum, not her therapist, which was totally understandable. And I thought, well, I had helped so many cancer clients get back on the road to health, but Jenny didn't want that. She just wanted me to be her mum. So what I did was I did a healing painting every week. Now, Jennifer had chemotherapy and she had surgery, and I sent the energy of the paintings to Jen and to Mum. And Karen, they both got well, which I'm so grateful for. Now, they had their conventional treatments as well, so it wasn't just, but I was part of that. But during one of my meditations, because I meditate and then I paint. So the meditation is going into my center, and then I paint, and I never know what's going to come through, And then I got the inspiration to bring these images and create a card deck, which I did not know how to do, Karen, but I found a way, as you do. And I created my first deck, which is called Wisdom, Insight, and Foresight. And, it's got a painted image, so it's all my hand-painted images. And then on the back, it has a message and a frequency number. But then I didn't know how they worked. So I had to figure out how they worked. So
Right, so could I just stop here and explain for those listening on audio?
Yeah.
On the back of any of the cards that are different images, I'm actually looking at the one that says Earth Dragon, because I actually have the cards, and it's a dragon's face with what looks like a heart with sparks coming out of it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll share it with you just in case you are actually on the video. And on the back, there is words, and there is, in this case, it reads, "The Earth Dragon brings me face to face with all my potential. I have within me an immense amount of powers and riches, which I learn how to use wisely every day. By coming to know and love my Earth Dragon daily, I am able to reach the secrets of my heart. I have unlocked them forever. I am discovering the beauty and the power within me and within the magnetic power of Earth. And there's actually a frequency number. Now, in this case, it's 367-93633. Now, I know from my own use of these cards how effective they are. But I suppose my question, as somebody who hasn't used them, how can the paintings and the frequency of the numbers impact somebody who needs to heal?
Well, that's a great question. And, and sometimes people don't know what frequencies are. But Karen, you and I at the moment, we're on a frequency of whatever ID number this Zoom call is on. Or if I message you on your phone number is a frequency because it connects me to you. It doesn't connect me to your next door neighbor, right? Everything has a frequency. So when I looked at my images, and I have been using frequencies in my practice for many years, and when I looked at my images, I said, this has a frequency. So I created the frequency. So the frequency is created for this image, right? And it's a different frequency for this image. So when I'm working with somebody, I just say, okay, depending on what their situation is. So say if somebody has a pain, and if somebody has a pain listening right now, they can evaluate how bad is it. 10, say 10 is the worst scenario. So from 0 to 10. And then I ask the person to give themselves permission for the pain to eliminate, delete forever. And sometimes people are so in awe of how can that happen? But you know, it does happen. And every time I do it, it happens. So we'll say this card here, which is my sanctuary. And so when the person has given themselves permission and they allow it to happen, I get them to say it out loud because I want their subconscious to hear, this is my instruction. And your subconscious it will not lie to you. It knows exactly how to keep you safe. And sometimes when the pain circuit is running, Karen, that pain circuit maybe has been switched on at a certain age in your life to keep you safe. But now as you go through life, it's no longer keeping you safe, it's holding you back. So pain has a circuit. And what the frequency does is it interrupts the circuit and it reverses the circuit. So when the circuit is reversed, guess what? The pain goes away.
So are you saying the frequency of the numbers and that are in the card themselves through the painting, and by saying them out loud, our bodies actually respond to the message?
Yes, they respond to firstly the image, the message, and then the frequency number when it's installed into the body by tapping the number into the body. That interrupts the pain circuit and it stops the pain circuit from running. So therefore the pain is eliminated and deleted.
So somebody who perhaps takes regular painkillers could benefit from utilising this next along with the painkillers? Or would it help them if they perhaps could manage without the painkillers and focus more on the frequency healing?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, you know, I've had many people on Zoom and they look super duper fit. I mean, I've had fitness professionals and they might have had an injury or they might have had a fall, or it could be a recurring or a long-term pain. And I've done this with them and the pain has gone away. And they're saying, well, how did that happen? And this is why I'm explaining how it happens. The frequency interrupts the pain circuit and reverses it. So therefore, the pain cannot keep the circuit created. It stops it, interrupts it, reverses it. So then the pain just dies down.
And yes, we all know that, well, most of us know that our bodies are more than capable of healing because we do heal. We have a common cold and we heal from that. So the body is more than capable of healing. It's just that sometimes we need to break through the barriers that we insist on putting in place to allow ourselves to heal, I suppose, because any pain, if we keep repeating the same thing, I'm in pain, or I've got this back problem, I've got this problem or that problem, we're just creating a continual circuit, as you describe it, of that problem.
Exactly. And also, you know, when someone says, well, I have, and they'll mention the label that they've been labeled. And I say, well, look, let's get rid of the label. You know, you say your name, like I am Marian Egan, and I am perfectly happy within my own skin. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been in a lot of pain, Karen. I mean, this is where this came from. You know, it was me creating this also for myself. I mean, back in 2014, I published my book on this is how this helped me, this pain, you know, it helped me to get through this pain, bless you. But it's amazing how something that's been created, particularly with my card deck, something that's been created for two very seriously ill people has helped so many people around the world. My decks are now in 19 countries. And, it's such a pleasure and a joy to see that they're working. And you did ask a question about painkillers. I would not say to anybody, stop your medication. But when your pain has gone away, which has happened many times, people then have the sense to, well, there's no point in taking painkillers if I don't have pain, right? If it's gone, it's gone. So therefore, I don't need them. And then you don't have the side effects of whatever you're taking,
Yes, and I suppose with any kind of pain, if you are on painkillers, you can only take so many, and your body then starts indicating the pain is still there. So if you've been taking painkillers and you're getting to that point where your body's going, normally, I need those painkillers again, and you suddenly realise that you've gone past the time you'd normally take your painkillers and there's no pain, that would surely indicate that whatever they've been doing with you has worked. And I think that's half the problem. Sometimes we get tied up in the fact that we want proof, but the only way we can get the proof, if you would call it that, is to actually allow ourselves to experience what could happen. And I do know for a lot of people, it's like it can't happen because it's not got a pill, or it's not got a physiotherapist going over my body with a machine or something like that.
Yeah.
But we have to remember we are energy, and energy is a frequency.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So all you're doing with the cards is then creating a different frequency, I am assuming.
Yeah. You're giving the body the frequency it needs to eliminate and delete. And the nice thing is that, whether I choose a card for somebody, I do it intuitively, or I'll ask them, because now I have digital cards, so I can say, give me a number between 1 and 45, and they can choose a number. But that you cannot choose the wrong image, and you cannot choose the wrong frequency. Your body knows exactly, And every time I do it, Karen, it's just such a privilege to see the person on the other end saying, my pain is gone. But how did that happen? I say, it doesn't matter how it happened. It's happened,
Mm-hmm.
It's, because your body knows what to do, and you're just giving it what it needs.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, because I often turn around and say to somebody, your body just needs instructions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Instead of just constantly telling yourself the same story, it just needs a different instruction. And if you give that different instruction, however you give it, it will work on that basis.
Yeah, well, here's a little bit of teaching points. Like when somebody says, oh, my back is killing me, you're reinforcing that your back is telling you, can you please look at this? There's something not right. Your back is, I call it body talk. Your back is talking to you, or it could be your tummy or your ear, whatever it might be. And then you stop and you say, okay, I know that there's something not quite right. Now, it's always good to go on investigation, get your doctor to look at and get clearance and all of that. This is not instead of medical advice. This is just a self-healing tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you make the statement, I'm giving myself permission and I'm allowing this pain to leave right now, because if there's no need for it to be there, then it's just an old circuit that's been running. Your thoughts emit an electrical energy. Your feelings have a magnetic energy. That's why we're electromagnetic beings. So if you keep saying, oh, my back is killing me, or my big toe is always paining me, well, then guess what? Your big toe is always going to pain you. Whereas if you give yourself permission to stop the circuit running, and then you install a frequency by tapping the number in, then that frequency will interrupt the circuit, delete it, stop it running. And if it stops it running, guess what? The pain can go away.
Oh, you've just given me an idea. I'm going to ask you perhaps a question not been asked before. Can you use it on a pet?
It's a good question, and I haven't been asked that before, but why not? Yes, why not?
I might try it then and let you know, because my cat Safi is definitely under the weather.
Okay.
And all my usual treatments are just managing the problem. They're not actually enabling her to heal the problem.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to give it a go and let you know.
Well, can you do me a favor? You just said, I'm going to try it. Please don't try it. Just
No.
do it. Just
do it. I in trying, I mean, I will actually physically go and find my cat and sit with her and choose the cards, because she will communicate with me. She will indicate with me what she needs. So, I will definitely do it on that basis. No, I appreciate what you're saying. Don't try it, because when we try it, we're not really focused in on it. We're not necessarily allowing what needs to happen, because we're putting out this energy of, well, I might try it because it might work, rather than allowing it to work.
Well, here's the thing. Trying presupposes failure in advance. So if you try and do something, you're not giving the direct instruction. When you give direct instruction, your body can comply, because it doesn't know what you want to do. So you tell yourself what it is you want, and then you go do it. And it's just amazing. I had a lady last week, and I did this, and I did it purely as a demonstration, and I'm in Ireland, she's in USA, but after a serious accident, body pain all down the trunk of her body. And, with 3 frequency numbers, that was totally eliminated. And she messaged me then a few days later, and she said, I'm able to go down the stairs. I'm able to bring my dog for a walk. And it's so wonderful to walk without pain. Thank you so, so much. But she did she just took my instruction and she did it herself. I didn't do any healing on her. Her body healed itself, but I just told her and showed her what to do and how to do it. I didn't do it. She did it herself.
That's what I think is so important, because a lot of people don't realize that a healer doesn't do the work. A healing enables you to actually find the answers within yourself. However, that is given to you, whether it's through your cards or whether it's through hands-on healing or anything like that. They're actually being given the instructions through their own body to do the healing. And I think that's what puts some people off with the word healing, because they think that somebody has to give them that healing.
No, you do it yourself. And the thing about it is, my cards are just a self-healing tool, okay? Yeah. And your body is taking your instruction. So it's really important for your listeners and viewers to understand that watch what you're saying, watch what you're thinking, because what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah.
Right? So change, as you say, change your story. Instead of having the same story that's going on and on and on for years, just say, do you know what? I'm actually rewriting my story today. I no longer am giving in to and mention whatever it is, and tell your body, okay, this is the deal. This is how I want to feel. I want to feel, not that I want to feel, because wanting to feel something is in the future. When you say, I am walking with ease, I am walking with freedom and lightness in my heart, and I'm free to be me. Something along those lines. And you've changed your story, and your subconscious goes, oh, wait a minute. Okay, that sounds better, So and when somebody is now pain-free after installing my frequencies, they have done it themselves. I've just provided the tool for them to do it. That's it. Simple, easy, and doable.
Precisely. Simple, easy, and doable. And yet so many people continue with pain, little realizing that they can change themselves by changing their stories, you put it, by changing that, breaking that circuit and putting something new in. And so, yes. So tell me, how can people get hold of you? How can they work with you? And what's your final word to encourage people to learn to heal themselves, or to trust they can heal themselves even?
Well, I think that's a hugely important word, is trusting. When you trust yourself, I would ask people to start saying, I like myself. Even though you may not, just say it. I love myself. I deserve to be happy. Those 3 sentences. But look at yourself in the mirror and look into your eyes, deep into your soul, and say, Marian Egan, I seriously love you. Because when you start liking and loving yourself, now you're changing the dynamic and you're changing the internal belief system. And when you start that loving process for yourself, it's like the ripple in the pond, Karen. It goes out there and the people beside you feel that energy. And, it's such a wonderful gift that you give yourself by just liking and loving yourself for who you are and what you do. And if you don't like who you are and what you do, then guess what? You can change that. I had to change it because going back to my story, when I saw, that tragedy happen and I blamed myself as an 8-year-old, I lived in that blame and shame. That caused me serious trauma, medical conditions, but I have now healed from all of that. But, with every negative, there's a positive. And from that negative, that made me the person I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So always look, when something is not working out, look for the black and white, the day and night, the positive, the negative. There's a positive coming from it. I remember times when, situations, or maybe I was going in this direction and it was shut down and I was so disappointed. But in hindsight, it was the best thing ever because that wasn't the road that I was meant to travel. The universe kind of was saying, no, that's not for you, Marian. But Marian didn't feel that. I couldn't see it at the time. But in hindsight, it was a wonderful decision, and it's brought me to where I am today. The one thing I did do was when I created my cards, as I said, I didn't know how they worked. So I took an A4 book and I wrote down number 1 and I wrote the card number and the frequency. And I wrote what my intention was for using that card. And then number 2, whatever. I'm now coming up to, what was my card today? 4,600 and something cards that I pulled for myself. So I have now 6. I'm at the end of the 6th journal. I have kept a record of every card I've pulled for myself, the intention I set, and the card and the frequency. And, on a personal level, it's been amazing. But on a professional level, it's brought me to where I am today. It's changed everything. I've helped myself to change myself.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's helping yourself.
Yeah.
And in helping yourself, you can change yourself.
Yeah.
So to finish this off, please tell us how we can get hold of you and how we can work with you.
Well, on my website, which is marianegan.ie, there's a calendar link there and my information is there. So it's a matter of, you can book a 10-minute call just to see if you want to work with me,
Yes, that makes all the difference, being able to have a conversation beforehand. I do know that for many, that is vital because not all of us match each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for a healer to heal or to support you heal yourself, you have to fit together. So thank you. Thank you so much for your sharing today. It's been insightful. And as I said, I love your cards. I really do love them. I get so much benefit from them. And I will certainly let you know how I get on with my cat because she is really worrying me and she's 25 years old. So I'd like her to go for a bit longer if possible.
Yeah.
Without any pain or any illness. So I will definitely try them. As I say, thank you so much for coming and being a guest. It's been insightful. I've appreciated, and I'm sure the guests have, or the listeners have, to learn more about how we can heal ourselves through frequency. So thank you very much.
Thank you for asking me.